Can you see me now?
Oh yeah.
Thanks for writing that up for me.
Oh, what did you think?
I changed a couple of words and just to make it more personal the way I would write. And
Yep, that makes sense.
and today I had a little conversation with this woman that is probably so overwhelmed with all of the things that she has to do with so many different people.
Oh my
And
God. After all these years, I mean, these services have been available for a long time, right?
yeah, but she's so the guy who was doing this before retired. He had
Ah,
been he had been in service for 20 some odd years and then was doing this for 20 some odd years. And
wow.
so he finally retired and so they took on two new people. And either the gentleman did not perform what he needed to do, or with this new sort of situation, a lot of people applied.
A
So
lot of people what
applied to
are
it.
applying?
Hello,
Oh,
hello,
so
hello.
there's been a change in the rules that gives people more
Yes, you know
benefits
the
than
stuff on Camp Lejeune?
yeah, yeah, yeah. We were talking about that
That's
before.
all bound into the situation.
Right.
And
I
so,
Googled like once what Camp Lejeune was and what that whole, because I saw so many ads or pop-ups and stuff. And
so I
now I
guess it
get
was
tons of emails about, oh, have you been affected by Camp
right.
Lejeune and all this Lejeune and all this stuff? And I'm like, oh, I just Google searched it. Hi, Diane. Hi, Beth. Hi, Charlene.
Hi.
Hi, Charlene.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Beth. I said hi, Beth, but so that
I,
speaker last week, I loved her.
I know.
Yeah, me
I know.
too.
She's
I, I,
amazing.
I said to myself, I wish I could have been in at least one of her workshops because, it wasn't what she was photographing as much as how she photographed and what she said.
Yeah.
And I thought that was very, very interesting. And
Yeah.
so,
Hi, Mark.
thanks again.
Oh, my pleasure.
Hi.
So, Charlene, how you been doing?
Good. You?
Okay. Just got some rough spots, and I'm trying to work them all out. Anyways, we're here to learn how to
How are
print.
you feeling, Beth?
Oh, pretty good. I mean, I'm, coughing a little bit, but I'm on the mend.
Does Greg still have a cold too?
Yeah. This is hasn't quite gotten. He hasn't gotten over the hump yet, but he's getting there. It's a mild cold. I have had really worse colds than this one.
And you kept testing negative, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna test
Got some more
again.
people jumping in.
I'm gonna test again in another day or so, just to be sure, but I'm positive it was just a little cold.
Yeah. I got my last booster last week. Hi, Nanda. Hi, Dick.
Hello, everyone.
So I'm wondering why everybody else I can hear very well, and Beth, I can't hear you very well.
Oh, wait a minute.
Do you test your mic before you come online?
No,
It's better now.
okay. It's these headphones. They
Ah.
have these slider things that
Okay.
if you press the wrong one at the wrong time,
All
one's
right.
for answering the phone and one is for
Uh,
just headphones. And I never remember which is which, but I don't even touch either of them. It doesn't matter, but
just
anyway,
picking them up or just
Yeah.
plugging and replugging
yeah.
to set the circuit.
Well,
Yeah.
you sound good now.
Yeah. So I had to raise the volume up because you were so low, and then Joni come in and she was so
I'm blasting away.
I'm readjusting again.
Get to Tom and Leo. Andrea, hello. You're muted. She doesn't want us to hear or see her. Hi, Paul.
Hey, how are you?
Good. Missed you last week.
Yeah, it's been a rough couple of weeks at work.
Oh, you gotta stop that.
Yeah, I know. I really need to retire.
It's the best job ever.
Right.
Hi, Nikki. I'm gonna give people another minute or so because Frank is not able to join us tonight, so he won't be able to monitor once I go on. Although, I mean, it pops up if I'm sharing my screen. It does pop up. I can see when somebody's coming in. But if I miss it for a second, then somebody could be sitting there for 5 minutes because the little window is typically hidden. So,
Hello, everybody.
You wanna make,
hi, Leo. How you doing?
Good, thank you. Glad to see everybody here.
Yeah.
So Leo, you still baking stuff?
I do. Baking, no. Cooking.
Cooking.
Don't like
I think
baking.
Fred's the baker.
Fred's the baker. Okay.
I'm
I
a
don't
cooker.
go. So I don't go on Facebook anymore. And,
And I don't post anything on Facebook anymore. So where even?
I don't have time for that.
I do. I'm
What is
semi-retired.
Alan, what keeps you so busy?
Life in general. A lot of my wife, a lot of just catching up, and I'm filling out forms and forms and forms and more forms.
So
Guys,
Alan,
could anybody help?
I just got
Could
an email
anybody help
saying
me?
about 2 more forms.
Well, we're waiting. Maybe somebody can answer my question. I have a Mac, and every time I start Zoom, it hangs on me. So I force it down and start again. It works fine. And it's not a random occurrence. It's every time.
What is it that you got again, please?
When I start Zoom, it always hangs, always. So I have to force it off and restart and Zoom. And then it works perfectly fine.
have you upgraded it? They had a new update recently.
Yeah, the latest. It's automatic update for me.
So do you
So I
launch?
wonder if,
How do you launch? Do you launch from the email?
yeah,
Fred.
start from the email.
You
And the
have it on
second
your
time
system-
also from the email.
You have it on your system, up on your desktop.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, just
I'm
in
sorry.
case it's anybody
Yeah.
new, but
I haven't had an issue. Well, I mean, I wouldn't have the issue because I'm the host, so it's different. I am gonna start the meeting though. Sorry, Leo, and I'll share my
Okay.
screen. See desktop. Oops. Oh, look who's up there. It's Logie Bear. That's what we call him instead of Yogi Bear. One thing before we get started, and I hope Charlene, please help me if I make any mistakes. When we were talking last week maybe, about exporting, we got to a portion that I'm going to right click. Oh, I keep forgetting this button's actually easier. When we got to this window and we choose a specific folder, put in a subfolder, choose wherever we're going, there's this button here that's called add to this catalog. And we discussed what that was. And Charlene offline was very nice to do some research and call me and explain exactly what the benefit of this is. So I think, as you all know, the way that I upload images to Gateway is that I'll choose an image and I will upload it without putting this upload to catalog into a folder on my desktop. And I leave it there, and then from there I upload to Gateway. And she was saying what you do is, and this is something I wasn't doing, but I could actually import the folders on my desktop. That's the Gateway Camera Club images by year. And if we close this and I don't need that open. And I go and navigate on my desktop to the folders that I always save these things in: gateway images, the year, why, oh, that's 2022. And I have all the months, and within each month I have the themes or the categories. Well, all of those folders can actually be imported into Lightroom. So that's what I did, at least some of them, just for an example. I imported the gateway images, and here's the 2023 images. So these are images that I've in some way, in some form, uploaded to Gateway, but they are in the themes. You can see the September's here, and then the folders for the month. So all of those are broken down here, and I imported this folder. Well, the benefit of this is when I go to another image, and let's say we go here and we take this, and I want to export this guy. Oh, I gotta get into this habit. If I add to catalogs, so instead of just exporting on to my desktop, if I add to catalog, I'm actually putting the JPEG in Lightroom as well. So if I add this to May Pictorial, let's say, I'll do test Logan. And I export it. Now that was May. It's going to take a second, I guess, to export. But what will happen is now I'll actually see it in my catalog. It's on the desktop. My JPEG is there. I'll be able to upload it just as I always do. But if I have several images in a competition folder, let's say, and my computer was running fast all day, I swear to God. Can everybody turn their mic and video off in case that helps? And I'll actually turn my video off too, if I can get back to the Zoom, which I cannot. Where is it? Here it is. Oh, I guess I have to stop sharing to turn mine off. Maybe that will help. We'll see. But it's been going lickety-split all day long. So I'm exporting that file, blah, blah, blah. So it will show up in this May Pictorial folder, and I might put 4 or 5, or some of you, many people may put 4 or 5 images in there. The benefit is you can look at them here in the grid format, in a big format, versus if I go to my desktop and open them up. In order to see these images, I have to open them up like this. So it's a lot easier if they're just already in your catalog. So if the folder that you're exporting to is a folder that's in your Lightroom catalog, as well as on your desktop, obviously, or hard drive or somewhere else, then the picture not only will get exported to the hard drive, wherever you're exporting it to, but the JPEG will also be viewed in your desktop, in your catalog, if that folder has been imported into your catalog. Does that make sense? Does anybody have questions on that?
No, but it's a
Did
very,
you guys talk about the
very,
pros and cons?
very good piece of advice.
Did you guys talk about the pros and cons of doing it one way versus the other?
Well, I didn't see the pros at all. But what I see as the pro now is that in May, there's 2 images. Now I can look at both of these images and decide, oh, do I like this one better or that one better for May Pictorial? Actually, Logan hasn't gone in there yet, but he will. So the benefit is you can see them both in the grid style in Lightroom, and you still have it on your desktop to upload to competition.
And when, Joni, when you went in to look at on your desktop, you had to make 5 or 6 clicks to get to that folder, right?
Correct.
Whereas
Correct.
here, you're making 1 click to go see it.
And if I want to move these around and say, I want to put something here in another folder, I can easily do it within Lightroom. In fact, you want to do it within Lightroom so that it doesn't mess up Lightroom.
Hey, Joni, the one on the right with was that maple syrup?
Yes.
Can I give you a tiny bit of advice on the photograph that I would have done?
Well, maybe later offline.
I might have
but there's
just taken
things
it.
that
It's just easy. I might have just taken some kind of pouring scoop and put it in as an object on the top. That's all.
Okay, thank you, Alan. So that was one thing from last week that Charlene offline helped me with to understand, because I didn't understand when I was just when these folders were not imported and I was practicing doing it to see what it was about. I didn't see the JPEG being added to my catalog. And she explained to me that, well, the folder you're bringing it to has to actually be in your catalog for you to see it. And I thought that was helpful. Hey, there he is. So there's Logie Bear. So that got imported. So now I have these 3 images. And now if I decide, oh, I'm not going to do May pictorial, but I'm going to save him for maybe next year, I've just started a 23, 24, and maybe in September, whoops, where is he? Where'd it go here? Maybe I move him into September next year and I right click, create a folder inside September and call it pictorial. So I can do it all here. I don't have to make it outside of Lightroom.
And just remember that if you want to change the name or you want to eliminate it, it's all done within Lightroom. Don't do it outside of Lightroom.
Correct. Now it's still in outside of Lightroom. I mean, it actually physically is there. I know you know. I just want to say, so now I go to images and I have my 23, 24 and have September and I have pictorial and there's Logan right there. So it did export it and then I moved it within Lightroom. So I actually do see the advantage to that, and I will follow this protocol now because I think it's better to look at all your pictures, you know, wherever they are. I have 3 architecture pictures here from Multi-Club. So I go, oh, wait a minute, I don't like this one. I'm going to take this out of here and I'm going to put another architectural picture from somewhere else in here. And then I'll upload it. It's, you know, I've done it all in Lightroom, but it's actually changing it on my computer. So that was one thing.
Good job, Joni.
Thank you. Next, I do have 2 images that Mark sent me that we can, I think, quickly go over. And we talked last night for a little while. This scale is interesting, Mark, the way these obviously are further away because they look like little toy cars compared to the girls walking on the what's the skyline in New York called? We've been there.
The
The High Line.
High Line. Thank you, Beth. Right. So Mark wanted, I actually think I have this for architectural details. That was one of my choices. I have a close-up of this vessel, I think it's called. I like the reflections of the buildings in here. I like that a lot. But he wanted the girls taken out of the photo. Now, it's very easy in Photoshop. In Lightroom, I'm going to give it a chance. I would go to in the develop module, I would go to the healing brush and do the eraser and then make my brush pretty big. And I don't know how good a job Lightroom's going to do on this, to be honest with you, but I would go like this. And make sure I get that out and see what it does. See, it doesn't do a great job. And I can click the H and I can see where is it coming from. No, it doesn't. The new Lightroom doesn't do that. That's interesting. I'm going to actually change it to the healing tool and see if it, see, now I have a second thing. I'm going to bring this down here. And it's even hard because the curve of this, gotta match that up and match those lines up pretty close, but they don't really match 100%. And I'm gonna turn that off. See, they're not really matching up very well. I think this is a better job for Photoshop. And again, because of the curve of this, I'm not even sure Photoshop could do it. Let's see, let's go back to here and go back to the beginning. I was also wondering, we thought if we crop, I don't know if we can crop them out or if you even want to. And you could either do it as a piano or it's, again, it's your vision. What's the most important part of this image to you?
Okay, it's probably the what's in the middle with the reflections. But it's
Right.
nice to, it's at the same time, you know, you want to have, you certainly probably you want to have the stuff on the right. Now, the question is, maybe you could get rid of, crop the stuff on the left, but then what was centered would no longer be centered, right?
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah, but I think that it's still like compositionally, I would think that's okay. It's a matter of did this part of the image look important to you? You know, the cars and the lines over here, or is the central, is the reflection in the building what captured your eye when taking
I
this
guess
picture?
it's the reflection of the building. So if you know, what you can probably do here is, yeah, I guess you're probably right. Just
Because I think this stuff all on the right really doesn't add to that
No.
and takes away. I mean, it
Yeah.
took me a minute to go to that. I mean, there's other ways you could even brighten this. I might bring up the contrast. I might bring down the highlights a little. You could even do some the object selection tool and maybe select this. I'm using that rectangle and give that some texture, give them some clarity, just make that stand out a little bit more, and do the same thing, but reverse it. Take this kind of thing. I'm making a mask, but now I'm going to, I'm actually going to add a brush to it just to make this brush bigger. Just to get all of this part in too, because there's some clouds in there. Maybe a little bit here, but then reverse this mask to invert it. There we go. And then kind of darken the back down a little bit more so that even stands out a little bit more. So there's things like that, that if that's the central focus, I might do things like that. I think the building still could probably use some transformation. I don't know how much auto will work. No, it does pretty good. So if you took it into Photoshop, those girls would come out. The Photoshop, I'm pretty sure could handle this. And if we have time at the end of the night, we could find out, but I'm not going to spend too much time on it right now.
Okay, well,
And
thank you for trying.
You're welcome. The second one, I believe you were concerned with recovering some of the dark areas of this photo.
If you look at the histogram, you know, it spikes
Right.
on the whites, which you can easily get rid of. But how do you deal with a spike on the blacks?
You can increase the shadows. You can increase the blacks. That pretty much got rid of the spike.
It did. The question is that the correct thing to do for the photograph?
Well, that's your choice.
You know, I understand.
That's the artist.
Yeah. One of the problems that I typically have is that there are, you know, particularly here, there are so many things that you can do. And then obviously, because there's so many things you can do, because there's so many knobs you could turn, then the question comes up is, do you want to keep something that looks more real as opposed to, you know, you don't want it to look like it's been modified too much.
Oh, you can overcook things for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
And that's my concern. That's my concern, to not overcook.
Right. No, if you over texturize something, it'll get very crunchy looking. The edges will be like too crisp. You can see that. You could you could bring contrast down, so now it looks really flat.
Yes.
You know, there's not as much dynamic range here. It's a little too flat. So there's things you can do that, you know, certainly, and you could bring this way up, and that's like way too contrasty. Now I've gotten your highlights and darks done the opposite of what we wanted to do, because contrast will play with the lights and the darks. So that increasing your shadows. And my rule of thumb has always been, if you have to increase the shadows all the way to the end and you still need to bring them up, then play with exposure. We don't need to in this case, but I'm just saying. And same with the highlights. If you bring the highlights all the way down and you need to bring them down even a little more, they're still spiking, try bringing your exposure down, but do the highlights and the shadows first.
Mhm.
And whites and darks will help with that too. Okie doke.
Thank you.
You are welcome. And now on to tonight's presentation. Okay, so we're doing the print module, and I think we will have time for the book module as well. We should anyway. And I'm not monitoring chat, so feel free to, I mean, I can check it every once in a while by looking at my, bringing my cursor down to the bottom and looking at the chat box, but I might forget. So please feel free to open your mic and interrupt me if you have any questions or comments.
Oh,
During
Judy,
the evening.
that's a beautiful picture.
Thank you. Actually, I had to call Adobe today, and these pictures were up, and the guy went on and on about my images. I was cavelling, as a few of you might know that word. So one of the things about printing is to make sure that your colors are not what's called off the gamut of the printing range. And so printing really starts in the develop module, because this is where there's something called, on the bottom toolbar, you'll see an item with a checkbox called soft proofing. And if I click that box on, and I don't think it happens in this picture, but there is another one. Which one was it? I don't remember which one it was. Like maybe this one. No, I'll have to go through a few of them to find something that has something off the gamuts. Well, that did, I guess, but not enough. If it's just a few specks, it's not something you might care about. Oh my goodness, which one was I on? I had it open earlier. I want to say, I thought it was this one actually. Soft proofing. And did I fix it? I might have fixed it by mistake. Is there another one I have? Oh my goodness. Doesn't this just figure? All right, I'm going to go back. I don't even see where it's here. All right, let's do this. Let's force it. Here we go. Okay, so you see all this red? This red is telling you when you're in soft proofing, which we are right now. It's a proof preview, and you click on this triangle in the upper right. The histogram becomes your soft proofing gram, if you will. It's graph, and the default is this will be turned off, but and I wonder if no, that wasn't it. When you click in the upper right hand corner, the red spots will come on, and those areas are going to bleed off your paper, basically, if they're really bad. And what you'll do is it's usually a saturation issue. So you'll go down into your hue, saturation, and luminance area, and you'll click on the little icon to the left. I've got on saturation, and I'll click to the left to pick that icon. It's kind of like a color picker, and turn it on, and then bring it into the area. See the crosshairs right above the icon, and slide it to the left, and that'll bring it down. Now, there is one caveat to this, and you have to have this set up ahead of time. You have to have the color profile for your printer and your paper loaded in order to get the correct color gamut. So if I, for example, if I'm just doing Adobe RGB, which is probably the default for you, you can see that all got saturated again. But when I double click the profile area, and if you go to other, you should have your printer in the profiles already when your printer driver was loaded, and papers that are common to your printer combinations. I use premium luster a lot, so that I have checked that. And when I go in here, that comes up as one of my options. And you want to do your proofing based on the printer and the paper you're going to use. The printer uses different printers use different kinds of inks. Different papers have different qualities and how they take the ink. So you really want to make sure that the profiles are set up. If you go to this area and you don't see any printers, your printer or papers in here, you will probably have to go to your printer's website. Make sure you have the latest driver installed. And somewhere in the support, probably for that printer on the website, you will see something called ICC profiles, which you will then need to download the profiles. And once they're downloaded in the Mac, they show up in this area up here, and you would click on it and double click on the download and then install the profile. You will have to close Lightroom and open it up again to have that on. If you have any problems with that, I suggest Googling about your printer or calling your printer's manufacturer and getting help. That's really a little bit outside this course, but it is important, semi-important. I mean, Lightroom will make some adjustments. Now let's see what just happened there. I must have touched this or something. And again, if you just had a little smidgen of dots, I think one of these had some really small minor amount on some red berries or something. Maybe it was this one. No, it wasn't. But I'm just saying, if you have just a little tiny bit, it's not going to be a big deal. This is the picture I was doing. But oh, look at that! I did to the green. How did that get up there? I can even see the green was all the way up. My slider just got moved. But its saturation is the issue. And by clicking the icon and moving it around your screen, usually to the left will reduce saturation. That will soft proof for you. Now you go in, man, I've got a thing. Now you can take it into the print module. Any questions on proofing your image before you go to the print module? And I'll check the chats. I don't see anything. Okay, so whatever picture's active in the library or the develop module, when you go over to the print module, that's the image that will come up. And typically, whatever page and settings you use last are sticky and will stay there. There are some presets. I'm going to bring this up. There's a template browser with a bunch of Lightroom print page presets. You can create your own presets. I believe you just hit the plus sign, title it, put it, see where you wanted to put it, user templates. Where you can make your own new folder and create your own template if you have something specific. And I'm gonna see if I can, I thought I could move this preview, make this a little smaller, but I can't. And then if you notice under the templates, the collections are in every single module. And the reason collections are here are you could take a picture, just go into your collections and say you're going to print a whole bunch of them. Maybe you're going to print 4 or 5 on a page, different reasons. But if you don't have a collection and it's a single image, you can certainly just be in a folder with a single image up, go to print. Oh my goodness, that didn't work, did it? Well, it's still brought my collection was still active, so I don't know why that. Let me let me check one more thing. How about if I do my food photography, and I'm just testing something, and I take this and I go to print. Yeah, but the whole folder does stay in the film strip. Okay, I wasn't aware of that. I thought just the image you chose would go into your film strip. And what's wrong with this image? Okay, so we're in the print module now. So your collections are here. If you have a bunch of pictures that you put in a collection, you can choose them right from here. Or you can go from the library module. That's your choice. And on the left side of the panel, you have a page setup and printer settings. On the right side, you have all your printing portions and then print and a printer button at the bottom. And when we get to the right side, we'll start top to bottom, but you really want to tell what paper are you using, what size paper you're using. So you want to start with page setup, and you can choose your printer here as well. That's my husband's office printer, but I would use the Epson. The paper size, there's all sorts of choices in here, and you can even make a custom. So if I'm making a big print, like I'm going to display something in a gallery exhibit, my paper is 11.7 by 16.5. So I had made a custom size of that paper in here. I put the height and weight and made it there. So I can go in here to my custom size, and I'm going to do this in portrait mode, and I'm going to click OK. And the print settings we don't need to do right now. I don't think that does. We should check that later. This basically tells you the main thing here is just how many copies are you going to make. So let's say we're going to do one picture. Okay. Now the next step we're going to do is in the layout. And there's 3 choices here. You can do a single image or turn it into a contact sheet. And probably most of you are aware that contact sheets were used in the film days. A photographer would do a job and put all their images on a contact sheet for the customer to look at before they sent them to the printer. Not really used that much. And even though I'm doing a single image now, I'll show you why I'm not going to choose single image. Picture packages are sort of like what you might get at Sears or JCPenney or the kids' school. You have different templates for that. And you can, let's say you're going to do, this is the one I wanted. So it lays out on your page in the order that makes sense to them, a 5 by 7 and 4, 3.5 by 2.5, because that's what this package is, or this package. And you could certainly set that up as landscape, and it might make more sense to you. So they have predetermined packages and picture package. But if you go to custom package, and I'm going to go back to portrait because I know this image will be portrait. Now I can, even if I just want one image, I can put in a whole bunch of different cells within this. I can put a 3 by 5 cell in, and then I can add an 8 by 10 cell. I mean, and you can move them around. You have, and we'll get there, but you have choices. I'm going to delete these. But let's say, even if I want to do one image, I'm going to take the image from the film strip and I'm going to drag it up. And because when I picked the other thing, I don't know if this, I don't think this said it here, but if you're doing an 8 by 10, let's say, excuse me, one of the choices will usually be borderless auto expand. And unless, then that's the one I always choose, because then I can choose how big I want my image. And that happens to be an option in this custom as well. So it comes in here, but I just moved the picture around with my cursor, and I'm going to make that as big as I can. And that's as big as it will go. This is bugging me. Hold on. Oh, it's not it's the little thing. Sorry. Okay, let's go. What are we doing? It's not moving for me for some reason. Now it's collecting information. I'm going too fast for it. I saw a white dot and I thought powdered sugar was on the edge of the image. What are you doing? See, I was moving right along real fast there. Well, while it's thinking, so you noticed when I brought that image in, there was a white strip of canvas to the right of the edge of the image. Because the aspect ratio of the image I took is not the same aspect ratio as the paper. The paper is the size and the aspect ratio is the obviously width to height ratio. So they don't always match. If you know ahead of time that you want your image in the way it's shot to be the same aspect ratio as the paper, you actually have to go into the crop and choose that and crop. And again, I'm going too fast for it. Charlene, I lied. I told you I got this fixed.
I was looking for the big red pointer, but it's not there anymore.
Oh, I know. I'll fix it for you.
Didn't that slow the machine down too?
No, I don't think it did. Now I forget where it was. It was an accessibility displays. Can't hear you.
It was on. So
Here it is. Here it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't think that's what it slowed it down. I called Adobe and I did a few other things and Charlene helped me, but I think the biggest thing that I saw that was working was my graphics card. Adobe changed it from auto to custom. But right now I'm totally stuck. So we just have to
Thank you. It's
wait
so
it
much-
out.
It makes it so much easier to follow you. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. I meant to set that back before the beginning of the class tonight. Anyway, I would go in if I want this image to be the same size as my paper, I would do a custom crop. And in when it comes up and it's active, if instead of original, there'll be a bunch of crop choices and there's the custom. You can set it up to that 11.7 by 16. There we go. So we can go here and I can make it. I thought I had a custom and it was 11.7 by 16.5, I believe. Now your picture's going to change. And I'll get out of the crop tool. But now when I go into, when I go into print and I take this image and we're going to be patient, this should fill up the full page, unless this is the one. I'm not sure which is the one is the right dimensions. We'll see when it comes up. But you have another choice too, and I'm going to go through that when we get there. And I'm going to stay on custom package for a minute so you can see that you can put in as many images that you want as many images that will fit on the paper. And you can move them around and twirl them and put them exactly where you want. So here we go. The image is coming in. Just going to be patient. There we go. And if this is the right image, it might be the other one. Nope, this is the wrong one. So I'm going to delete that and it's this one. So that should be the right ratio so that when I make this big. Oh, this won't move at all. So there we go. I don't know why it wouldn't do it. Usually the cursor will do it. Usually this will do it.
It was locked to the aspect ratio, so if you drag any side, it will automatically increase the other one.
Well, that's that. I get that, but I made aspect ratio the same size as the paper. It still shouldn't have. When I drop this in, I still should have been able to make it bigger and smaller, and it's not. There it goes. Now it will. But I should be able to put it up here and just go like this. Yeah, it's working now. See these little these bars there? That's what I thought was powdered sugar at the edge. I thought, oh, how did I miss that on the edge of my picture? I didn't do good border control. So if the aspect ratio of the picture isn't the size as the paper, which this one is not, the other option you could do, but you have to, it's, oh, here we go.
Go to the right rather than down.
I am. Okay. I know I was trying. So now this is the image, the picture actually is my original aspect ratio. The paper is a different aspect ratio. If I don't mind losing some of the image, if I uncheck lock to photo aspect ratio, now this can be stretched out to the paper. And if I want to move this within the paper, within the canvas to move it around a little, I can move it around a little bit. I hit the command key or the control key, and I can move that up and down. But you're automatically expanding and cropping part of this image in order to make the aspect ratio. So if this cuts out some of the image that you don't want cut out, you'll want to go to the develop module and make the crop size the same as the print size that you're going to print it. Either way, you're probably going to lose some of the picture, but you have those are your choices. So when I say custom package, why I like that is I kept the aspect ratio. Did I keep that? Yeah. So I can take this image and put this image here, and then maybe I want to put my e-clears down here. I can make my cells within their aspect ratio how I want to do it. And maybe I take this picture and put it in. Do you see what I can make a custom package and lay it out any way that I want for whatever reason. And because I have that flexibility, I just tend to always go to, in the layout style, the custom package. Now, if you go down to image settings, you can rotate to fit. I'm not 100% sure, but that works. That matters too much in the custom. You can add a border around your images, and you can determine how wide the stroke is around it. You can do an inner stroke and determine the width on that as well, and choose the color. So you have some options there if that's what you want on your image. The rules and guides, obviously you can change how, if you're going to see them in inches, centimeters, different things. The grid snap is pretty cool because if I go here, if I get near the edge, it snaps to it. If I get near the edge, it snaps to it. If that doesn't get you, like if I want to get close to the edge, but it keeps snapping, you might want to either turn it off by clicking on the drop down or go to grid. And that way it'll kind of snap to a grid. And if you look, it's the center of it is, you can see some of the guides up here. You can just determine which one, you can turn all the guides on and off, or you can determine which ones you want to turn on and off. I mean, I like having them on. I like seeing the image lines around the cell. Those are not going to print. That's just a guide for you. And then within the cell, if I say, let's see, if I click on an image and it's highlighted, you can see the pull tabs all around it, and I hit the delete key, it deletes it from the image. And then I can add to the package. Each one of these drop downs has a bunch of different choices. If I just click on it, a 5x7 goes in there. You can do 2 4x6s, let's say. And now I've got this 5x7 here, these 4x6s here. I've got a layout, and there's a 2.5 by 3.5. Maybe I'll do another 2.5 by 3.5. I can make my own custom package this way. And then I can start to drag the images in of what I want. I mean, maybe I want all of them. Which one was, doesn't matter. This one I think was the original. And I can adjust that. So that's the size it's going to be. Now let's see what that rotate to fit. I don't know why that's went in that way. Let's delete that, because we had in this one, this cell, we had a 4x6, right? So it should have one in here and then 4x6, but it didn't, and I don't know why. Let's see if this one goes in that way. There we go, because it wasn't the right orientation. I think if I wanted these to be, and I'm clicking them and deleting them, I think I have to go in and do 6x4. And then it will go in. I think it's picky like that. And if you keep adding pictures, now this is an 8x10 that got added on a second page. So now you're printing 2 pages. And then clear layout clears everything out. And you can customize your page that way. So let's say, just to keep on going, I'm going to do a single page, and this is going to go, and I'm going to do on the guides and rules, I'm going to snap to the cell. This mouse is very touchy. I don't like it. Okay. And I'm going to unlock the ratio because this is all white space. It's not really matter. And if I want to change, move this up, there we go. So let's say I want to print that. And I can then add, if I did have a white border around here, I could add a background color. I could add an identity plate. Identity plate, and you can add watermarks. And the identity plate's just like we saw in up here on the identity plate up there. It's in a couple other places. I think it's in the book module as well. That's for branding, and it doesn't actually print when you print it, but a watermark, if you have a watermark on your image, that will print on the image. And if you do the watermark, and when you make the watermark, you can do the color and the font and all that stuff, but that will print on the image, where an identity plate will not. You don't even see it, but you're adding an identity plate. But I think that's for electronic. That's the best that I could understand is for electronic. I did actually
Right in the middle,
go on.
Johnny.
Oh, is that where it is right there? Ah, you're right. And it's, you're right. But that wouldn't print on the image. That, I think it's the, I'll tell you, I looked it up. Let me see where, this is under what page? The difference between the identity plate and a watermark in the print module is that an identity plate is used for interface branding, slideshow output, that's the other place it's in, print output, and website branding, and doesn't necessarily appear on an image, but in conjunction with the image. So I'm thinking if you're electronically sending to somebody, it will be there. A watermark appears directly on the image. A watermark can be accessed and applied from when you export something as well, but an identity plate can't. And that's the best information I found about the difference. I wouldn't do them. I wouldn't even do a watermark if I'm printing something. And cut guide, crop marks. I did not look into these cut guides at all, so I honestly don't know what that is. Now, when you get down to the print job, you really don't want draft mode printing. That's a low quality printing. And if you're going to do maybe a contact sheet, maybe you would do that, but mostly I would never do a draft. The printing resolution, various people have various choices. 240 is kind of the standard. You can certainly do 300. And I think it's over 750. No printer could handle that no matter what. Print sharpening, you probably want standard most likely. And you certainly want to know if you're going to be using glossy or matte paper. And then color management. The default here is managed by printer. If you're first printing, it's probably going to say managed by printer. And unless you can't get your profiles up, which I recommend you research that and get the right profiles, you don't want Adobe to you don't want the printer to manage your colors. You want to choose your printer and your paper. The choices that you did when you were soft proofing are going to show up here as well. So all those others are going to be listed here, just like they were when we were proofing it. And I would choose my paper. And then print adjustment is where you can change the brightness and contrast here. Well, why would you do that? The brightness you would change because when you're looking at this image on a monitor, you've got a lot of light coming from your monitor. So this is it's not going to show up when you print it. You're viewing it differently. There's a couple of things you could do. So you certainly could lower, if you knew how much you wanted to lower your screen, the light in your screen, you could lower that. You can do that when you're editing, just so you can see what it would actually print out. But I'm going to bring my brightness up. Older eyes, I need more light. So here, and I've played with this, and I know my printer and I know my style. I almost always add 25% brightness. Here's the issue is you cannot see the difference on your screen when you change this. If you bring this up or down, raising the brightness up and down, you don't see it on the screen. The only thing you see on the screen is if I change my brightness on my screen itself. But you can't tell what it's going to print at. So this is where testing your prints becomes very important. Until you know your printer and you know your inks and your paper, you want to probably go on like a 4x6 and do a bunch of test prints before you print big. I know that I go up about plus 25.
Joni,
Yes, ma'am.
where do you find the adjustment for your screen again? I didn't see that.
On my keyboard, on your keyboard.
So
Your
what
keyboard.
Oh, I see, one of the F numbers. You mean
Yep.
F1, 2, 3, 4, okay. Oh, I see mine's
Yeah.
off 11, no, that's, okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And I don't typically add any contrast. When I develop, I am a fairly high contrast person, and in my test printing, even I wouldn't change your brightness until you're happy. Excuse me, I wouldn't change your contrast until you're happy with the brightness when you do your test prints. Once you've got the brightness down, and then you can say, okay, does this need more contrast or not? and you can add it here, or you can add it in the develop module. But if you know that you're constantly, every time you're printing, you're adding brightness or contrast because you know your paper, you know your printer, and you're using consistent stuff, you can keep this. This is sticky. This is sticky, so these will come here. And if you don't want to do it at all, you can turn that off and not add anything. But my default has always been to not add any contrast and add brightness by plus 25. But start small, start adding plus 10, plus 15, plus 20, go up until you know you're happy. And you might have to, the first few times you print, if you're not used to printing, I wouldn't just do that on the first image you print. I might do it on the second, third, fourth. I mean, I've printed enough that I'm pretty comfortable with just putting it plus 25, and I've been happy. Now you can set up your printer, get everything the way you want it. I've got my printer here. I don't play with presets. It's how many copies do I want, and I print it, which I'm not going to do. My printer's not even turned on. And that's the printer. Now, again, if you want to do, some of these presets and throw 3 or 4 pictures in, you can change. You do all sorts of things over here. And as I scroll through the presets, you can see in the preview that it's kind of showing you what you get. I mean, this is kind of probably a standard JCPenney kind of, or maybe this one. There's some contact sheets you can see. Now, there is one other thing. If you were setting up and sending something to a printer, I would probably not even, sending it out to be printed, I probably wouldn't even worry about this print module. I would just get the picture the way you want and export it and upload it or send it or put it on a flash drive or whatever you're going to do to your printer. Like I can't print, I have some prints that are 20 by 30 that I put in the house down the Cape. I can't print that large. So I don't bother even going in here. And I do soft proof and I do tell the printer not to change the color. Don't, and they have never had a problem with that. If I tell them I'm happy with the color, don't change my colors, then they don't play with the color management. But I think you can if you want them to. That's between you and your printer. Let's see, anything in the chat? Oops. Oh, I guess I answered that one.
Yeah.
Any other questions about printing? Was anything unclear? Did I go to?
So I set up a standard 8.5 11 print size that I automatically go to, and it's just a custom size, and I just go to that every Allen's print.
Yeah.
So
you have it as
just,
a temp,
just
a
as
user.
easy, yeah.
You have it down here in the user preset. Yeah, I mean, I just set it up that I have it here in custom papers is where I did it, but 6 of 1. Yeah, I suppose if I was going to do this every time, that would be a good preset to have.
Right.
Okay, so it's pretty clear on that. And like I said, we have plenty of time to go to books. Now, Alan, you have made books. Do you do your books here?
So I do, and one of the reasons I do is that I can easily go from my gallery to the show or the book and design the pages and compare them. So the last book I made, I had a few color balance problems. And so when I put the images side by side, I was able to match the color balance on the left and right. And when you went to the next page, it was matched up with color. But I did try to be consistent throughout the whole book, but not all images color balanced correctly. So I was able to see that. And then also I was able to rearrange different images onto the page and see what it looked like. So I spent probably 50 hours working on just getting it right before I sent it off to the printer.
I've never printed through Lightroom. I've always set up my images, export them, and I've gone to like Adorama. I Shutterfly in the beginning, but I'm more likely to use Adorama now. But I haven't used Blurb, but I think the next time I print a book, I will try Blurb.
So what I've done is use the book module to set it up, look at it, go through page after page after page, see if the left-hand side and the right-hand side matched, the size matched, all those things that, you know, you do with looking at pages of a book. And then I set it up, saved it as a, I forget what format it is.
PDF, I think.
Yes, okay. And now you can send that to any printer. It's already
Right.
set up, already sized, already done, and it's ready for them to go.
Well, and what I was going to say at the end, but it's appropriate to say it here, is if that's what you do, you have this export to PDF on the bottom left-hand side. Now you can send it electronically to anybody. So if you have friends and family, you want to share a trip in a book format, but you don't want to print the book, you just want to send it to them electronically, you can do it that way, is my understanding. I haven't done it, but that's my understanding. So here we go in the book module, and you can see there's the preview up in the top and there's the collections on the left. So if you have all of the images, if your images are from different folders, you'll want to set all of the images up that are going to be in the book in a collection. And if all of your images are in the same folder, we'll go to Logi again, and I would select them all, click them all, go to the book module. Now you can see this already it saved everything from last time. It didn't bring Logan over specifically, but I can go into the auto layout and clear this whole layout, or I can clear the book. And now only Logan's in the film strip down here. And when I click auto layout, Lightroom will automatically come up with a layout, which we can customize. And if you clear that book, if I want to use, let's say I want to do my butterflies, put all my butterflies in a book. I'll go up to the book settings. We'll start at the top. This is, all of my collection came in the film strip. We haven't set the book up yet. And in the book settings, the only company that you can print the book directly from Lightroom is Blurb. That's a well-known, respectable publisher that Lightroom has partnered with. And I guess there's some reason with it's too complicated to set up for too many printers, I guess, is what I've been told. And I guess you can do a magazine and a trade book. You can make it PDF or JPEG, but this is probably, even if you're going to export it and not use Blurb, I would just set it up as a Blurb photo book. You can choose the size of the book. They have several choices here of sizes. You can choose a few different covers, hardcover with just jacket or soft cover. The type of paper, there's a few different paper choices in here. And then logo, you can turn the logo on and off. It says here, if you keep the logo on, I believe it's just the back page of the book, the back cover of the book is going to have the Blurb logo. And you save between 10 and 20%, and you can see the difference. Like right now, this is a basic 2-page book for $46. If we kept it like that, well, that's different. If we turn the logo, no logo, it goes to 56, so it goes up $10. That's about 20% savings. So it's up to you. I guess if you were printing this professionally or for a client, you'd probably not put the logo on, but maybe for yourself, just to have a travel book, you might want to save the money and keep the price discounted, but that's certainly your choice. So those are your book settings. Now the layout, we cleared the layout and I have all my images. If I click auto layout, again, Lightroom put all them in the book. And if I go page by page, you can look at, this is I don't know why there's nothing on the left side of this. If that's the cover, maybe. Oh, it goes to the end of it. That's so weird. I don't like that. I want to go to the first page here. I guess that's the first page. Or the thing is, you could clear your layout and you could, there's 3 different icons on the bottom. You look at the whole spread. You can look at a 2-page spread or a single page spread. And if I look at the whole spread, you can choose, and this is backwards to me. Why is the back cover on the left and the, I guess because if you, I don't know, I think
When
the
you
front
fold
cover
it,
should be on the left.
when
I
you
know,
fold it, the back is,
I know, I know.
so you got to
I
think
get
that
it.
way
So now
sometimes.
I could, so I could click and drag my images into the front and back covers and then do an auto layout, and the rest of the images will be populated by Lightroom. And I believe, why isn't the front and back cover showing us? So that wasn't the cover. I'm just trying to, oh, I have to scroll up here. If I scroll up, there's the cover photos. And then in the inside front cover and the backs, the right side of the back cover will be left blank. So it lays it all out really nice, but you want some more customization. And that's where the page will help you. So if I start with page 1, now we start with the customization. That's an easy, like, flash it in, layout, but now you can customize it and you can add page numbers. You can decide where the page number is going to go and if they're going to be on both pages or left or right. But here is a little bit of where the magic happens. When you see this square here, if you look to the right of it, there's a little icon to the right. And if you look at the bottom of the preview in the center, I don't like page numbers. The same icon is there. If you click it in either place, a window opens up on how you can modify your page. And this is where all your time is going to be spent. You have, if you have a one photo on this page, right now this photo is pretty much covering the whole page. This yellow is just an outline and there's no captions or anything. I believe you can move the picture if the aspect ratio here on the page is different than your image and you want your image to display a little differently, you can move it. And you can also use the zoom to zoom in and move it or zoom out until, see, now I'm starting to see white. That's not going to have any image on it. So you have some choices just within one. But if you click on this, even if you want one photo, you can maybe do something with a border. This is the one we were on. This is a different border. And my recommendation with, if you're going to do one picture per page, especially, I would personally use the same layout. If you're going to use, or if you want to use a few different layouts, I just wouldn't change every single image on every single page. I think there's got to be some kind of cohesiveness when you write a book. Some of the pages, if you see lines here, will have places for text. And you can, and if I scroll over, you can see this, there's little grabber bars here. This is the image box. This is a text box. And I believe this is a text box because when I looked at the page, it looks like there's lines on the top and the bottom. And I can see some other lines, some other grids around here that I might want to take this image and not have it go full side to side. I might want to grab this, bring it in so that there's a border on the top and the bottom and it sort of looks a little more cohesive. So you have some control there. And again, once you do that, you can still zoom your picture. And if you zoom it out, then you can still move it around so that you can set your picture up the way you want to. If you want to add more pages or you want to add a blank page in between, you have that option. And if you look here, there's 2 photo layouts. Each choice on the top presents you with several on the bottom to choose from. So you have several layouts, even with 1 photo per page.
Too much choice.
There is a lot of choice. You're absolutely right. That's why, I mean, I'd look through them, but I probably would only do 2 or 3 of these, you know, for the whole book. You can also do a travel layout, a wedding layout, a portfolio layout. So there's different I don't know, clean. You can check those out and see which, it looks like it doesn't have any text there. All text pages, like if you had a whole story on one page you wanted to write and just a picture on the other, maybe 2-page spread outs. If you want one image, a piano or something, to take a 2-page spread. Multiple photos, that's a lot of photos. I mean, I don't think I would do more than 4 to a page myself. And I see even here a little exclamation point, which usually means it's going to print off the page and you're going to want to bring that down a little. But looks like it wants you to do something like that. I can see a grid line in here too. So you kind of want to pay attention to those, because maybe you don't want to go right to the edge. It still has it there. There we go. Or maybe I want to zoom back in a little. So now once you've got all of these set up, same thing, the rest of the same thing. You've got guides to show you for different things here. If you have a spread that has a border, you can, within this cell, you can make the border bigger, I believe. That's not the right page. There's some pages that have you can make the white bigger by doing this padding amount. And you can do a page border as well. And you can change the page border color. If it looks all black and white, scroll bar up and you start to see colors. Yeah, it was the same with another border too, which I'm not going to add a border. In fact, I'm going to go back to this page. Hello, there's the picture. I thought I was a big one anyway. There we go. No, different photo. Thought it was in page 1 before. Oh, I know. That's because there's so many images. There's the first one right there. Okay, so cell guide, cell, the padded text. So don't be confused. Text is not like putting a caption. Even here it says add page text. And if you click on it, there's a line here. And where's photo text? This one doesn't have a photo text. Some of the pages have photo text, and I don't know how to tell the difference. But when you go in to the text, some of them will give you a choice. Oh, I know what it is. You have to click on the picture. When you click on the picture, photo text will come up. And if you click that, you can add text onto the image, but you can add things like what equipment you used. It's down here. I can put it over it or above it. So it's telling you what I used to take this picture. I don't see why this would be important unless you were printing a textbook about photography, I guess. File name, sequence, title, you can edit and you can put a bunch of things in there. You can add all of these things by inserting them, stuff like that. I don't see the need to do that myself. I wouldn't add photo text. And then page text, again, this page text, you can type in what you want. Even here in photo text, you can do custom text. So I don't even know why you'd want page text and photo text. It's not something I would do personally. I would turn them both off. But if you wanted to put a caption, if you had a page that you had words on that you wanted to add to the page, a description or something about the place you went to, if you were in a place, then you would go to type. And once you add, you have to actually add, you click on the text box itself. There's one on this one and there's one here. And then you have a drop-down list of the presets here. I guess there's some presets here. And there's also all of these fonts to choose from. I wish they had a preview because even if I type something here, which this is too high, I can actually take this and move it down. And capitalize it and spell it right.
Joni, I think you can even go to like the one on the top and click
I
and
will.
delete,
I could.
click and delete it if you wanted the butterfly to have more space.
Yeah, sure. You can do that. You don't even have to click and delete it. You can just bring it up. These lines and grids will show, it'll just be white space. If I go into here and I highlight butterfly, now I can, I wish that as I screw here and looked at the different fonts, the actual font would change where I highlighted butterfly, but it doesn't. And I don't even know what that font is. It's just, and then you can change the style if you want it medium, bold, italic, things like that. And then the font size. And then on the bottom, and the opacity, the color of the characters. I'm a color picker, same thing. You move this up to choose different colors. But then you can center it and do right adjustment, left adjustment. You can do the top of the box, the middle of the box, the bottom of the box. So like maybe middle, center adjustment. But these grids and lines aren't going to show. It's just going to be that. And you can move that down a little bit. You can move this within here, move it around. So it's just confusing because there's text and type is where you want to customize any writing that you have on your page in these text boxes that may or may not appear. And then you can also add backgrounds. You could take one pictures and drop it here and then make this a really low opacity, and it just kind of prints it lightly on the page, gives you a little bit of scene. You could throw a graphic in there. You can change the opacity as much or as little as you want, or you could take out the graphic altogether and do it as a background color, and you have the color picker.
That's very cool.
Yeah, I do like that look for some things. And again, that looks white, but if you bring this up, all your colors are back there. Maybe you want a nice green. Ugh, that's disgusting. But you see, I don't know if you can do the opacity of that. I don't think you can. Ooh, let's take that off.
The only problem I can see is you're using a lot of ink.
Well, that's not your problem. You're not printing it.
Oh, okay.
And then I think applying background globally means you want it consistent on all pages versus individual pages. Now, once you've got your whole book laid out the way you, of course, you would then send it to the book blurb if you want them to print it. And if you go up to book settings, it'll tell you what the cost is. So this is $65 without a logo, and I mean $66.54. $60 if I choose to put the logo on the back. They'll take your credit card information. It's my understanding is it's a 7 to 10 day turnaround, and I'm thinking that's business days, but I don't know that for sure. You can see the whole layouts here. You can scroll through the pages.
What type of cover do they have? Is it paper cover? Is it a hard cover?
There's 3 choices up here in cover. You can do a hard cover with the image wrapped around it. You can do a hard cover that's a dust jacket, or a soft cover. And my guess is a soft cover is going to be cheaper. Hey, it isn't. Oh yeah, it is. It went down.
Thanks.
So then, like Alan said, now on the bottom here, you have scroll through your pages. So you can just you can look at individual pages or page layouts and go through and say, oh, this doesn't look good here. I want to move that over there. You do whatever you want to do, rearrange your images, take this one out of here, delete it, and put this one here, because that looks better. Whatever. That's when you start to customize. That's all the work that's going to go. That's the 50 hours, right, Alan?
Yes, and also you can add the same image to multiple pages. It'll actually
Sure.
give you a counter. You've used it twice. You used it 3 times. So that's also a very handy
Cool.
little thing. But that's as you start moving stuff around.
Right. Any
Like I said,
questions?
sorry. Like I said, this is
No.
where you spend, the hours and looking at it. And does this look good? How does it look side by side? Do I flip the left one to the right one?
Yeah.
Do I add a different one? Because, it all matters. Like this one, I would reverse it. I'd have the leaf coming into the middle.
Right.
And then
Absolutely.
I might even think about flipping the butterfly to the other direction so that the flower
Correct.
goes in the other direction.
Yeah.
Little things like that. I mean,
Would you have to do that in can you switch it here, or do you have to go and revert the picture in develop module
I forget,
and
but it
and
was
switch
just,
it there? I think it
yeah,
looks like
I
you have to
forget.
do it
But
there.
I know you can go down to the develop module by going to the image and just opening up and then hitting the develop module. And when you change it,
Right.
it'll change it along the way. So
And then I can just move that there. Yeah, I just switched them. I just clicked and drag and switched them. It was easy. Click and drag, and they switched just left and right. I mean, you can clear the whole book and do it pages individually. And then if you have a book saved and you're happy and that's the way and you don't want to print it yet, you can actually, if maybe you're halfway through and you got to go and you got to shut Lightroom down, you can create a saved book. And when you do that, you name it, and it's actually going to go inside your collection if you want, if it's from the collection you want. You can uncheck that and just it'll go in your own. It'll go in its own collection, so it'll always be here, and you can do these things with it too. I wouldn't make virtual copies, but you could set it as a target collection if you're going to add more to it, or sync with Lightroom if you wanted to do that. But you could save the book and then come back to it. I mean, sometimes it's just good not to do it all in one sitting and get clear eyes and refreshed eyes on something. Or you can export the book to PDF and save it on your hard drive and send it to a printer or share it or whatever you're going to do.
I have a question.
Yeah.
How do you size the picture to begin with? I know it's going to be a JPEG, but if you're in Lightroom, how do you figure what size you're making the pictures to go in the book?
So when you go to the book setting and you chose the size, this is an 8x10 book. Yeah, you've got 7x7, 8x10. You've got several sizes here. So I'm thinking these pages, the book is 8x10, so it's probably 8 inches high and 5 inches wide. They're not quite square, it doesn't look
So
like.
if you choose that setting, it automatically becomes
Right.
the size of the page.
And let's go into like this is the first one, right? If we go here and turn guides on.
Yeah.
Guides page, so do we have inches here? Can't we tell how big they are? By cells, I guess not. That was in the print. You could see there'd actually be a ruler up here and you could see, but these just have guides in here. You can see little gray lines, like if I wanted to make them all come in. So I don't know the exact size. Yeah.
No, but there's
Based
no
on the size
reason
of the
to
book.
know the exact size. Then you just choose the size book you're going to make, and then
Right.
and put any picture you have, regardless of its size, into the book. It will resize.
Yeah, and you just want to make sure that you don't have any of those exclamation points, so you're printing off the paper. And
Right,
then again, you're changing your aspect ratio, obviously, but I can bring this, can make that, I can get rid of this whole red stuff over there and just do and make sure this doesn't get cut off, so I can adjust how the image looks. So The only other thing is if you knew it was going to be a 4x5, it looks like, I don't know. It looks pretty square, but not quite. I don't know. It doesn't have guides. I wish it did.
Yeah,
You could change, you could crop all in the develop module, so they were all,
true.
but I think it's just, but I think it's not knowing that. I mean, I could see another guide in here for some reason, like there's a little grid right there. But you'd have to, I would make them all consistent like that.
Yeah, I think I'd rather change it in the develop module to get it somewhere near the aspect ratio of the book.
Yeah, teach his own. I
Yeah.
would do it here just because I think each image is a little different.
It's true too.
And I want to see how it's going to look on the page, you know?
Okay.
Like I might
You
zoom
can
that
actually,
up so I
you
can,
can actually make a cell on the page. But I
Ah.
forget how to do it, but you can make a cell saying this is the size of the image I want to put on this page, and then go from there. When you snap the image in, it'll just size it right to that size that you made it.
Susan, I don't see that option unless it's in here. I didn't look at all the,
Different options for the cell size.
so it did do book preferences, zoom to fit, zoom to fill.
So
Constraints,
click
captions to text
click
area.
inside the image itself.
Yeah.
Right click, left click.
Oh,
There is some modification. So there are some other ones. At least there was.
set as a custom page. Save as a custom page. I don't want to do that. Yeah, I don't see it. I mean, I can certainly look into it.
Well,
Yeah,
there were some different layouts where some of them look
I'm sure it's in the layout somewhere.
Mhm.
But it,
Oh, here you go. Here you go. There is a layout. We didn't talk about this. My default was one page, but you can do, there are a couple of different layouts and edit layer preset. Okay, so here we go. Fix layout, random from favorites, zoom to fill. We saw that, add photo text. So it looks like there's some things in here. Yeah, I don't see how you can tell the cell size though still.
Okay.
That would be good to know though, huh?
Yeah. I guess if they give you the size of the book, which is whether 8x10 or whatever, you can resize it in the develop module to come somewhere near fitting the cell.
Yeah, but this is the size of the book. Then you're not gonna like each page, the closed book is 8x10.
Okay.
Oh, so I guess each page has got to be close to 8x10 if you're filling it,
Mhm.
or 7x7 or 10x8, 13. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that
it's
makes
more
sense.
Square here, but yeah, okay, it's probably 8x10.
It does. Huh. Oh, there you go. It doesn't look 8x10 to me. I wonder if I take this into the develop module and do the crop as a 10. Yeah. And then go into the book. What picture was it? This one?
Yeah.
I guess it is an 8x10, 4x5. Yeah, I said 4x5. 8x10, same thing, actually.
8x10 is the same as 4x5.
Yeah.
Oh,
The the size isn't the aspect ratio.
the
That's
aspect
what I was
ratios,
thinking.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because I can't tell right now, like inches, but
right?
It would be nice to have some rulers for that so you knew how big your image was on the page.
Uh-huh.
Hit the R.
Hit the R.
Take
Okay. It went to the crop tool and develop.
So there is a ruler. I think you just need to turn it on, and once again, I forget where it is. Try and view or tools.
What about settings? Because I have my ruler on all the time, but I don't remember how I got it. Oh, there it is.
Right. Yeah. Where
Oh.
it is.
No, I saw a hide tool and I thought it was.
Are you thinking about the ruler in Photoshop that you can pull down?
Yeah, there is a ruler in Photoshop.
Oh,
I've
that,
never seen a ruler in Lightroom.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I was thinking Photoshop. I don't know much about until now Lightroom. I was thinking Photoshop.
Okay. That makes sense because I didn't remember ever seeing that here. So anything else we want to go over in general? Just
Joni, I have
chit-chat?
a question.
Yeah.
How do you know how bright or not bright it will be on the book if the light behind on your computer screen is giving you a different impression?
That's an excellent question. That I don't know. I don't know if Blurb automatically adjusts that for you because there's nothing in here like the print module has. I wonder if I do click send to Blurb, if they have that setting there. I don't think so. I think this is just name, address, contact information, credit card information, stuff like that. I've never hit the send to Blurb before. Look at that little colorful wheel. Isn't that pretty? That's a really good question. Because this is backlit just like a print, just like it was when we were talking about printing.
Yeah, I'd hate to do a whole book and then have it come out not
Have it
very
be dark.
bright or- Yeah.
Yeah, you spend $60 if you're ordering just one book. All right, let me write that down. Thank you.
Johnny, I'll ask the more general question. The more general question always is, how do you know if your monitor is calibrated correctly? So like, for example, I have this 32-inch monitor and I have my 15-inch Dell laptop and the pictures look very different. Chances are the monitor is correct, but you know what they say, Confucius say, a man with one watch knows the time, a man with two watches is never quite sure.
It's true. Well, so have you calibrated the laptop with the same device you calibrated the desktop?
I don't think I ever calibrated my laptop. And the desktop supposedly came calibrated.
No.
Yeah, but they say you should calibrate like regularly, which I am guilty of not, as I'm sure most of us are. I mean, I don't know, once a month. I mean, I have a calibrator, a Color Monkey, I think it's called. It's over on the shelf over there. Do I take it down and calibrate it? No. Am I wrong? Yes. Okay, this is a long time to get to Blurb. Wow. Wish I didn't push that button now. Yeah, I think that's up to you to get your monitors calibrated. I've never put my laptop next to them. I should do that. See what that looks like. Could be interesting.
Can't you buy something like Chunky Monkey or something like that I forget what it's called.
It's a
You have to use it, that's all.
yeah, I have it. You just have to use it. You're right, Sue. Color Monkey, I think it's called.
Oh.
Chunky Monkeys. Did you go to Ben and Jerry's and get your
Monkeys
free ice cream
cream.
today?
Oh, there was free ice cream? I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah, today was my granddaughter went. My daughter sent me a picture. My husband drove by. He was out doing errands. He said the lines were ridiculous. He's not worthy of a free 2 ounces of ice cream or whatever they give you.
Particularly for me, I'm a diabetic and they do not have any no sugar added ice creams because they do not want to, they don't want to sweeten with something like Splendor or something like that. It's against their principles.
Mhm.
Right.
All natural.
Oh,
Mark, I'm going to open up Photoshop. I don't know if my Lightroom will ever get me out of this stupid book blurb, but I was thinking maybe we have a few minutes. I'm happy to take the picture over to Photoshop and see how they're,
I'd love to see you do this.
all right, but we don't bore everybody else. And I have to wait for Lightroom to come back.
what happened to Lightroom?
Well, Photoshop is opening up right now. That's what happened to Lightroom. But this is what happened to Lightroom. I went to the book blurb, and I've got the spinning wheel of doom here. And I suppose I could force quit. And that could take 5 minutes.
It's amazing how long 5 minutes are when you're waiting.
Mhm.
It didn't take too long to shut down.
Get an ice cream.
What'd you say?
If 5 minutes are long, get an ice cream. We'll pass faster.
Yeah.
I
So I'm
thought we were
sorry, you
going,
didn't-
I thought we were going to Photoshop. Oh, yeah, Adobe
I
Photoshop.
did.
Yeah.
So I
I
found where
did.
the lines, the ruler is.
In
It's
the
in
book. In the book.
So it's in the print module, and you can show it, and you turn it on.
Yes, you can in print, but you can't do it in book. I
Mhm.
know where it is in print. This is the book module we were in. In print, it's right here. And you can turn those rulers on and off right there, but not in the book module. Okay, so let me go to library.
Wait, we're in Photoshop now, right?
No, I Photoshop is on, but I closed Lightroom and opened it up again. I think you might not have been here at the very beginning. Mark had 2 images and
Yeah.
had questions on. Oh, you were here?
sure.
Okay, I wasn't sure. So I said that I would take this and go into Photoshop and see if we can get rid of the girls in Photoshop. So I did open Photoshop, then I closed Lightroom because I had my spinning wheel of doom.
I love that.
uh,
I never thought of that.
You never heard of that?
No,
I always called it the
Right.
spinning wheel of death, but same difference.
I always
Okay.
call, I always use the F spinning wheel.
Oh, there you go. So I'm gonna do a loose
More RAM.
selection. I just took the lasso tool and I did a loose selection of the girls.
Yeah.
And I'm going to edit and I'm going to do, I can do 2 things. I'm gonna do fill first and I'm gonna use content aware fill and see what Lightroom does. That's for me the quickest, easiest down and dirty. And I don't like the way it did. I mean, maybe you do, if maybe you did, no, see, look at the girls. I could do it a couple times.
The
I
other
think there's a
selection tool
keyboard
is accurate.
shortcut. See, it does a great job. So let me go back out of that. What'd you say, Sue?
The other selection tool, the little square with a square inside, is a more accurate selection than just doing it with the lasso.
The rectangle?
No, where's your tools?
You can just do
Oh,
part
on
of
the
it
right.
two at a time.
I don't know what it's called,
My,
but it looks like a square within a square.
oh,
It's a select object. too.
Oh, yeah.
Just
yeah.
try their legs and then try the top.
I have a question.
Two different selections.
If
Right.
If he wants to emphasize the building with the reflections, why
I
not?
can't hear you, whoever's talking.
Oh, it's
Whoever's
me.
talking, we can't hear you.
Oh, it's Beth. Oh, let me see.
Oh, object selection.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay. So Mark said that his interest was getting the reflection of the building in the middle. Why not just crop the bottom part out? Crop those girls out.
We did. We talked about that.
Yeah, but we're just doing this for fun.
Oh, okay.
All right. So now I'll do the fill and see how that works. I don't expect it to work any better.
Okay.
And now I'm going to actually do this content aware fill, which is, you can see preview in here what it's doing, and you can tell it not to take any information here. No, I don't think that's really affecting it. As I'm erasing some of this green stuff, I'm telling Lightroom, don't use any pixels from this area to fill that area with. So, and maybe I'll take away all the trees because it's putting trees in there. Maybe I'll try to take away as much of the trees as possible. And maybe it will, can you see the preview area, how it's adjusting it?
Mm-hmm.
I think that now if I want to add, I'm going to click option and add this. I actually do want it to think about this area. But I think it needs to think about some of the tree.
What
See, it's still, yeah,
progress are you using for that?
it's not great. I mean, I think Alan's got the better idea.
Yeah.
It is to just do it in smaller chunks.
Yeah.
I mean, you can also do the cloning tool, which I don't what is that?
Yeah, the rubber
That must have
stamp.
been the last brush I used.
You could just do the rubber stamp and do their lower part of their body.
That's a big honking brush.
Yeah.
I think the
add to
difficult
it
part,
is,
I think the difficult part is the curve of this. And I know you can do like hold either the shifter as you clone, you can change the direction if there's curved line like that, but this whole thing is curved. I think this is very complicated.
Mark, next time, wait for the girls to go away. Let's stand on a ladder.
The problem is obviously when I waited for the girls to go away, other people were coming from the other direction.
I know. Oh, well.
I think
Mark,
your first
the way I've
horizontal
heard-
drop was good that you did, Joni.
The way I've
What?
seen that handled, Mark, when you've got people constantly coming and going, is
Yep.
you throw on a 10-stop neutral density filter and you have a really long exposure. And that way the people just fade out of existence.
Right.
Yeah.
That sounds a good idea.
See how these lines aren't matching up? If the top line, the bottom
Yeah.
lines don't match up, and you'd have to really do piecemeal.
It's not
This would
worth
take a
it.
long time.
Okay.
Not to, I mean, it depends. If this is an award-winning image, you're going to print it, you love it that much, spend the time and learn this cloning tool. And
Oops. What you
The
do?
neutral density filter would not work on this picture. Remember that you got clouds and light that's going back and forth. And I like those reflections, but I wasn't going, the neutral density filter would mess up those reflections.
so what you could do is take a picture like this and then do another long exposure picture, and you'd have to merge them in Photoshop
Mhm.
with layers and masks.
I could have
Because
done
then
that.
you'd have the
Or
you'd have,
you could use a long lens and just take the picture of the building, like from right where you are.
Mhm.
I mean, honestly,
Just leave the
to me,
girls
the
in.
easiest thing, leave the girls in or
Just,
or
yeah.
crop. Who
Mm-hmm.
did that? Take it away. Is that Phyllis?
Yeah, I'm
When you
taking
did
it
the-
away.
Okay.
Joni,
Who's talking?
Beth,
Yeah.
when you did the content aware fill and you got that green masking stuff,
Yeah.
do you have to do content aware fill up from the menu? Because whenever I do content aware fill, I never get that. I just get, you know, I
It's got to be
do
a setting.
a selection and then do.
Let's
um,
see. What did we do? Hold on. We did, where's that selection tool thing again? Up here. We did like this, right? And then I did content aware fill.
do Command Shift or?
So-
you did
So now
Command
this green
Manual?
thing.
Okay.
So I think that there's a plus and minus up here. Why are you moving around like that? What was your question? How did I get rid of this?
Well, I don't get that. When I do content
don't get
aware
this
fill, I
green?
just do Shift F5 and I don't get that green masking, any of that stuff.
That's different. Shift F5 is fill and then content aware fill. The content aware fill, two things under the fill rather. This content aware fill has a whole different and much stronger, powerful things to do. And just taking away the green, right now there's a minus in my brush. So I'm taking away, I don't want to use anything from these buildings for sure, or anything from this building. I don't want that. I don't want Photoshop to use any of that in what they do here. Then you've got a whole bunch of things you can do. I mean, the green was a color, you know, you can choose a whole bunch of colors for that overlay to
Well,
be.
yeah, I got
You can
that, but,
change,
yeah.
there's a whole bunch of things in
Okay.
here
I
that
just
you can
didn't-
change.
Okay.
So,
I just didn't realize that you could, yeah, I always use, when I use content aware fill, I just use Shift F5 and I never knew that there was a.
yeah, that's
I saw
fill.
that and I didn't know where it came from. Okay.
Yeah. So this has, and this
Okay,
is, now
thanks.
you can lasso things and you can do with it. I don't use it a lot. I mean, I try not to have to use it because I don't want to spend that kind of
What if-
time. And I don't
what
know.
What if you cropped it just from the left to where the girls are?
Well, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Not
No,
from
no,
the
we
bottom,
cropped it
just
and-
crop from the left. You've been cropping from the bottom.
Okay, hold on. Cropping from the bottom.
No, from the left. The left, yeah.
I did. Well, and then, I mean,
Oh,
you tap
okay.
that, now you've got to change your aspect ratio.
All right, what does that look
Wait.
like?
Yeah,
That's
Mark.
much better,
You
Mark.
crop some of the right.
Yeah, yes, I
crop
like
out
that.
some of the right too.
Because
that.
this now is leading you. This is almost like leading you there,
Yes.
leaving that right side in. Good thought.
Yeah,
I use crop a lot.
crop out some of the right too.
So yeah, we
You're
should
right.
probably crop some of the right too.
Joan, crop some of the right?
I was drinking and taking a drink of water. Sorry, folks.
Hmm.
I heard you. I'm not sure why. I thought we liked the leading line. No.
Well, no, I do like the leading line. So, and I guess what now the building of the reflection is 4/3.
Yeah, like that.
No, not that much.
No,
To the beginning of the building.
oh, yeah, a little more to the,
No,
the-
no,
This one?
Yeah,
To the right, go back, yeah, right there.
That much? What
Ow.
about bringing this?
No, the other way, the other
All right,
way.
you want to,
the other right.
No. No, go back,
Move it to the right.
move to the
I'm
Or-
gonna
right.
listen to one person. Beth, I can
Go.
barely hear you, but
Okay, oh
you
geez,
want the right line moved right?
yes.
You
Keep
tell me
going,
when to stop.
keep going, all the way to that
I w-
building, to the glass wall of the building.
Right here.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I had it, and I thought you said bring it in
no,
more.
I
Sorry.
didn't, somebody else said.
No.
to-
Oh, okay. See, I have too many
Now it's a
voices
crooked
in
building.
my,
Need to fix that.
But then, yeah,
Well,
then
that's
you just
true.
straighten out the building. That's easy enough to do.
and,
Good.
yeah, but you cropped off the top of those clouds when I did that.
Whoops.
Yeah, just a little bit.
That looks good. I like that.
Yeah, we didn't have those clouds like that. Those clouds, it's like they made the two Empire State Buildings there or something.
Mhm.
You know, the way those clouds are. Those are cool clouds.
Light and
Okay,
vibrates
peeps.
for no man.
It's true. You'll never see that again, ever. No one can ever take that picture again.
Thank God.
Okay, so yeah.
Thank you, Joan.
I'll try to find out that question about what does Blurb do for adjusting for the light? That was a good question. And stop sharing. Next week, I think I'm here next week, and then the next 2 weeks after that, I'm not. And I believe I was going to do the slideshow next. Let me double check that, but I think that's where we're going next.
Oh, I thought that's.
Yeah, slideshow. So we have slideshow, web and portfolio, and we can probably do a whole, I have to look into it more. We maybe could do a whole session on Lightroom Creative Cloud and mobile photography. Hey, Fred, are you still there?
No, he's gone. Oh, no, he's
I'm
here.
gonna ask.
No, he's here.
All right.
Yeah, sorry, I couldn't find the unmute button.
That's okay. So when we did the library presentation and we were able to plug our phones so that the screen of the phone showed up on the screen of the at the library. Is there a way we can do that with our phones so that if I know people do it online, I've seen it. Am I able to connect my phone to somewhere in the computer so that I can share my screen of my phone on a Zoom for you guys so that if we're doing Lightroom Mobile with Creative Cloud, I can show it?
I believe the quickest way I know is to actually install Zoom on the phone and log in from there and present your phone for the meeting.
So I can't do it while I'm logged in. I can't switch between my computer, sharing my computer screen and sharing my phone screen or tablet screen.
Well, yeah, you can, because you can be logged in two places, I believe, right? One on the phone, the other
Yeah.
one on the computer. So you just don't share the computer screen, but you go to your phone and share the
Right. Okay.
do it that way. The other way
Okay.
would be to connect your phone, I believe, with a cable.
Right.
And there is a a screen mirroring option, and I can actually mirror
Right.
my iPad.
I think I can do that.
Reason-
I think I can do that through Bluetooth, maybe. Maybe. I'll work on that.
Yes.
Because I'd like when I get to Lightroom Creative Cloud and the mobile app and I would like to be able to share that somehow. Oh, what's that? Share screen?
Yeah,
No, I'll figure it out. I want to work on that because I think that would be helpful when I'm talking about Creative Cloud to show how it works in the mobile device too.
Junie, wouldn't it be easier to just do everything on your phone when you're trying to do that?
No, because I want to be able to show the desktop version and the mobile version.
Got it. The other thing I was just gonna quickly say is I hear people say from time to time, they can't find the unmute button. If you have a keyboard, if you hold the space bar down, that will temporarily unmute you. For people.
It's true. Yep. Okay, kids,
Thanks, Joni.
it's been real. I think, oh, I don't think Charlene's here anymore. We lost her. This is late for her, just like it gets late for me. But yeah, so we have a SIG next week, but then the 2 weeks after that, I'll be away.
So you're gonna be away, let me see, next week is April 10th, right? So you're
I'm
gonna be
here.
away the 17th and the 24th. Yep, I've got that
Right.
down. That's been
Yep.
in
20
by the
I
beginning.
fly home 24th. Yep, I fly home.
Where
the
are you
24th.
going?
Disney World.
Oh, cool.
Disney World for a week and then 5 days in the Keys with Erwin's cousin lives in Florida. They're going to pick us up and we're going to drive down to the Keys. If there's not seaweed all over the coast that week, we'll see.
Are your grandkids gonna be with you at Disney World? I hope.
Absolutely, I'm not going
They
to Disney
didn't,
World unless
that should be
unless
fun.
it's for the grandkids. And two of the grandkids know. Well, three of the grandkids know, but the 1-year-old doesn't talk yet, and doesn't understand because we have Logan on Tuesdays, and his sister Evelyn does not know we're going to Disney World. Her mother's going to wake her up that morning and tell her. And the two cousins they're 9 and 8. Her older cousins have, and they are so good. They have not told her. They knew Christmas time that they were going, and they have not told Evelyn, and they have not let it leak.
Oh,
And
that's
but
great.
every time we have Logan on Tuesdays, we say, "Okay, Logan, no, don't forget, don't tell Evelyn we're going to Disney." Well, he's barely saying "Mama" and "Dada." He's only 15 months old, but it's a joke that Erwin and I play. So Evelyn doesn't know. So when she wakes up, they'll be all packed and they'll be ready to go. And then they're not going to tell them that we'll be at the hotel in the lobby when they walk in.
How old is Evelyn?
7.
That's, you're gonna have fun. She's gonna be on a sugar high without the sugar.
Oh my God, that's so funny. So my daughter-in-law tried to prank their 2 kids on April Fool's Day, and she's like looking at her, and the kids are so used to stuff with COVID, when they were out of stuff. My daughter-in-law said, "Oh my God, look, I just read this article. There's a sugar shortage. There's not going to be any more treats. There's no ice cream. There's no candies. There's no cookies. They're all out of it." And the kids freaked out, like, and they said studies show that kids without sugar will think carrots taste good after a while. They had them going for about 20 minutes. They're like, and they can read now. The 9-year-old can read. So she's like,
yeah.
"I want to see that article. Show me that article." And then
She's not
then she
stupid.
no, it took her a little while, but then she said, "Is that an April Fool's joke, Mom?" So anyway,
That's funny.
So
yep, we'll go
about-
to Disney World.
Mhm.
I would go by myself.
I would, but Erwin wouldn't.
I loved it the 3 times I was there all by myself.
Yeah, we'll see. I haven't been in 30 years, so I'm thinking 10 to 11 miles a day is quite a bit. That's what they say you walk there.
What I enjoyed the most when I went there with my kids were 7 and 10 at the time. They're 32 and 35 this month. But what I enjoyed the most was Epcot.
Oh,
Yeah,
you're an adult,
sure.
you would.
Yes.
Yeah, and we're staying right next to Epcot, so that's like the easiest. And there's I think the most interesting stuff is there even now. So it's so different though.
Last time I went was 3 months before Epcot opened.
When's that?
Oh,
30
you're
years
kidding. That's
ago?
longer ago than me.
Yeah, I want to say it was about 1981, 1982,
Yeah,
somewhere in there.
'Cause
It was
the last time I went was 93.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Matt was 13. Okay, I'm gonna head off to bed.
Um,
All right.
Thanks so
Johnny,
much.
Hopefully that's not too much.
Do you want to hang out for
Good
just a
night.
second? Because I think
Thanks, Johnny.
on the way to share the phone screen, I just want to try with you if you want, don't mind.
All right.
Okay,
Thanks,
bye.
No, I don't
Johnny.
mind.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Good
Thank
night.
you.
All right, so the way I found it is I went into the phone. And if you go from the if you go into
Yeah.
the upper right corner and
Yep,
slide
there.
down, you get all those.
Screen mirroring. Joni's iMac. There it is. Look at that.
Right. But then I'm going to try to share my screen if you don't mind.
No, go ahead. I mean, I could do the same thing. I could share my screen and because it's easier to play with it now while the Zoom is still up.
So
So
yeah,
that looks like work stuff, I hope.
yes, it is. It's my.
That's not for fun, right?
No, I'm teaching, so I'm doing some homework. Anyway, so
Okay.
you can see my display, right?
Yeah,
So can you see my phone now?
I can. That's excellent.
Right. So now
Excellent.
you can do all that kind of stuff,
I
right?
knew you'd know the answer to that question.
I didn't know I
Yep.
knew it. So
That's
here it is.
hysterical.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So what did you do, Fred, to accomplish this?
What did I do?
Oh,
Yes.
Fred, hey, Fred, it looks like
Look
you're,
at my hands. It's magic.
Fred, it looks like you're 58%. You need to plug your phone in.
It's plugged
Oh,
in.
not yet.
See, now it's.
So in the upper, can you see there you go. There's my phone, right?
Oh, it disconnected. Here's the
In
thing.
the up,
It has to be plugged in. At least mine is plugged in via a cable.
oh, mine didn't have to be.
Okay, so let me share it.
Mark, in the upper right-hand corner of the iPhone, if you swipe down, you get your whatever they call it. There's a little icon there for screen sharing in that.
Sure. But I'm an Android guy.
I don't know how to do it with Android.
Yes.
Right,
And
he's
you're
not an Apple guy, so let's see if I
Yeah.
can do it without it.
iPhones are against my religion.
Mine wasn't plugged in. I could see it on my screen, even though I wasn't screen sharing. I could mirror my screen. I could mirror my phone on my screen. And if I was screen sharing, I assume I could see it.
Well, it says on my phone that I have to be plugged in, but because it requires an update, that's
Oh.
why.
Well,
So,
stop screen sharing and let me see if I can do it if you don't
okay,
mind.
all right, let me figure out how to do this.
Yeah.
Up.
It's a little green box somewhere, red box on the bottom right, maybe. There you go.
Got it.
All right. So screen share. And now I'm going to do this. Do this.
How are you're screen sharing your phone to your laptop or to your Mac?
To my Mac, yeah.
I am.
How to do that.
There it is.
Yep.
And there's my Lightroom. Ta-da.
And how did you do that again?
Good.
Oh, we're not
On the
gonna.
upper right side, on the iPhone, on the upper right
Yeah.
side, when you take the right corner and scroll down, there's your whatever that area is called, I forget.
Hold on.
There, you can add an icon, and your icon may not be there. Your icon, you might have to add it. You can
Is this on the home screen?
customize that what's on that screen.
Is this
And
within
it's
Lightroom
two little
phone
squares.
or just within the home screen on the phone?
Home screen of the phone.
Home screen of the phone on the right-hand side, if I scroll down.
It's
Yeah,
here.
not scroll down. It's like you take from the corner and swipe to the center. What's it called? The something center. What? I know there's a
Focus.
name for that area.
I don't know, but can you see my My cursor?
I can't see anything because I've
I
got
can
screen
see
sharing on.
I can see Joni's screen.
Yeah, I'm doing
Right.
annotation.
You have, well, 561 news sport things to look at.
But it's in the upper, I don't know if
Oh,
you can
do
see.
I? Wow, I have a lot of NCNs. All right. Let me stop sharing my screen. I mean, stop mirroring. That was cool, Fred. Very happy to do that.
Upper left corner. And there was a next there. Okay. Yeah, so
No,
that's
upper
how you
right.
can do it.
Excellent.
I'm clearly not doing something
And I
right.
can
Go in the upper right corner where you see your,
upper right and take your finger and swipe it to the middle.
So like where the battery
Let me
symbol
see.
is.
that's right. And then
Yeah, and
Oh.
now you can customize that screen, but the screen sharing icon looks
Oh,
like that.
okay. For some reason, for me to get, I think that's mission control or something. I need to get to.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I need to swipe up on mine from the bottom.
Oh, you have an older phone.
I
You
have an older phone. That's why I was confused. Okay.
Yeah, the newer
Nice.
one is like right corner to the middle.
Okay. Yeah, I live on the decaying edge of technology.
But
And
yet
that's
your
so
work,
interesting because you're so technical, like you're
I know.
so in
yeah,
tune
your
with
work
that.
is technically advanced.
My work is technically advanced, but so I've been in high tech my entire life, and I've discovered I'm also a cheapskate, and so I've discovered
I did that.
I've discovered that that being in high tech gets you a lot of free, or it used to get me a lot of free hardware. And so I would take cast offs from my company for free. So I would get lots of free hardware. It was just old. So I didn't have to pay for it. It worked out well.
yeah, if it's free.
So now I need to go to work for either Nikon or Canon
Well,
Or Apple.
or Apple.
well, free is one of my favorite 4-letter F words.
Yes.
Just one of them.
Just
All right,
one.
I am gonna head out now, guys.
Time to go.
Thank you, Fred.
Good
That
night,
was very
Joni.
helpful. Thank you.
Thank
you
you
all.
for
Good night.
everything.
All right, have a
Right,
good night.
send in
Thank
pictures
you.
if you want. I'm happy to play with pictures. I love doing that.
All righty. Bye-bye.
Bye. Have a good night.